A game like this, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean, a 7-day block, but it fits the games that we were playing, Boston and some pretty good teams, heavy road trips, so we'll come back to this. It's kind of two contexts. One is it's first game back after a break, and you're never sure what it's going to look like early, but probably both teams get better as this game goes on, and then we go right back into a fight that we've been in and need to continue to win. Points are critical for us, so we have to find a way to be at our best.
Goaltender tonight, Coach?
Bobrovsky goes in and Knight backs up.
For Bob, having played in about 3 weeks, what's kind of the challenge for him kind of getting back up to speed quickly in this game?
Just that, but we're coming into a situation where every goalie's been off at least a week. So it's as even a playing field as you're going to get for him to come back in. He was fairly strong going into the break. Like, he was on the ice practicing with our team and got through the practices prior to the break. He kind of skated on his own the day before our practice just to test it, went through full practice yesterday. So they're all in almost equal footing. None of them have played in a week, so and all number one guys aren't used to sitting a week, so that everybody's on the same footing tonight.
And Chucky just taking the option today?
Yeah, he didn't have to skate. He's too busy driving that car around.
You've been waiting for the schedule to turn, more in March than now, but what about finally you got through that terrible travel?
Yeah, that was, a really important time on our schedule because it was the most difficult by far, a very difficult month coming off a tough December. And I don't know that we found our game, but we found our path to our game. We're playing much harder than we did 2 months ago. I thought it was going to be difficult for us to see it in December if we were playing hard enough because we had come off an 11-day trip and then just played every second right straight through to Christmas with a back-to-back. We lost in Tampa on the front end of that back-to-back, didn't love our game. But I thought we were starting to turn the corner, and then we got into early January, and we did. After the first period of the Ranger game, we've played much harder and competed harder on all the small areas in the ice. So we believe we're on a path now to a game that we can play and that we can be good at.
And you'll be home for a good chunk of it.
Yeah, we've got two more difficult stretches in our schedule. I think everybody's going to have a version of that. So now we've banked a whole lot of home games. I think we go into Tampa at the end of the month, and that's our only road game in 4 straight weeks. A week prior we're home. We go into Tampa, and then we got 3 weeks on the back end of it. So we should be as rested as anybody is in the last half. We go into the Central once, and then we're done with the West, where we don't have to go back up out of our time zone. So we got no excuses with the rest. Should be good.
I mean, for a guy like Aaron Ekblad, he was starting to find his groove there before the All-Star break. I mean, does the break kind of help him get back from some of the injuries he had, or does he?
It helps all of them, all those guys. Every team in the NHL, certainly ours, with the schedule that we had, has 9 guys that's dealing with something. So he's much stronger, much healthier. Everybody in the league needs the break at that time, and it was really important for us to have it.
What is it about this rivalry with Tampa that continues to bring out the best of both teams?
Well, they both have, at the top end, some high-end skill. It's got speed with it, but there is some bite to the series, and there is some physicality. I think they've done it longer than we have. They've played that style of game now probably for 3 straight years. And it was the transition in that game when they became great, because they were a skilled team, and they were a very good team for a long time, but they weren't particularly hard. And we have been in that path as well. I mean, we have skilled players and get up and down the ice pretty good. But we're discovering the value and the challenge of playing really hard every night, battling on every puck, and we've gotten closer to that. They still clearly, you get to the finals 3 years in a row. It's not on dangle. It's on an understanding of how hard a game has to be played to have success.
Paul, now that you've had a week to sort of reflect back on what's happened up until now, do you think it was more difficult, or did you anticipate the changes that you wanted to implement from the team that you saw and had played against and to what you've had now up to this point?
There's kind of 4 blocks to the season. I actually really like the way that we got out of the gate this year. Our record wouldn't describe that right into about mid-November. The most disappointing part of the season for me was first week of November to the end. We were at home. We had leads on teams. We were still playing a loose game. And that allowed teams to come back. The December is where I thought we started to learn how to play hard, but you couldn't see it. We went out west. We were out for 11 days, came home, and then got into one of those every second night and back-to-backs. And Finished into that Christmas break with 5 strong playoff teams. We hit Jersey twice, hit Boston a couple of times, but we were starting to play a little bit harder, so there was hope in that. The question was going to be our January. Now, at that point, we come into, we're about 8 points out, and been, we had lost Barkov and Lundell, 2 of your top 3 centers for almost all of December, and you could see it in our game, but our compete got a whole lot better. So we were in those games, and we won some games. But again, from the second period of the Ranger game on at the start of this month, I've liked how hard we've played. We're playing a much more competitive game on all pucks around the ice. Are we perfect? No. But I've got much more hope now in us building something here that we can have success with on the way that we're playing now than I did 2 months ago. Figured it would be difficult to do. I think we had a bunch of things also kind of pile onto that. I think we had a real difficult December-January schedule was heavy for us. And we're at 29 road games going into our last 2 before the break. I think there was a cost to that. At the end of the day, the 4 components of our game, I've liked our 5-on-5 game. I think we compete harder now, but our 5-on-5 game has been pretty solid all year. Goaltending, penalty killing was an area that we really needed to get more out of, and we're starting to get more out of it. And it happened to be Alex Lyon comes in and competes for us in the net, and we win some important games. Our power play has actually been really good all year. It went 2 for 33 in the first 7 games, but it wasn't a lack of opportunities. I think the 5th or 6th game in there that when we played Tampa, that was almost the low point of our power play. But after that, it's running at almost about 28%, 29%. It's been really good. So the 3 components, power play's been strong all year. I've liked our 5-on-5 game analytically. We get a lot of slot shots. We didn't give up too much. Special teams, penalty kill, goaltending is the area that we could have made the most improvement. We're getting better.
And Claire, latest on Anthony?
So he's close to getting out of that gold jersey. We had a full practice yesterday. We'll skate tomorrow and the next day full practices. We want to get him through that without him being concerned about the bumping from behind or just the contact. But he's pushing it now. I think once he comes out of the gold, then he's not far off from getting into a game. We're hopeful. Timelines are tough with this because we like everybody. And now everybody is so afraid of these Achilles and what can happen if you rush it. We do not feel we have. We feel we've put a lot of time into this, that he's close. But he's not going to be consideration until he comes out of the gold. I'm hopeful it happens in the next 5 to 7 days.
Coach, Alex Lyon, as you said, kind of came in. He's played every single game since Montreal, Bob and Knight, and tonight. Just what has he meant to this team just to get some points in such a rough situation?
And style-wise, right? He battled in that net and scrambled and fought, and he had his gloves off and helmet off at times, no stick, and he was making saves. So it kind of, we started to play a little bit more like him. There was more compete in our game, I think, when he got into the net. I don't know if saved us is the right word, but if we don't get the wins that we got in his stretch here, we're in a world of trouble. So he's had a major impact. So for him personally, it's wonderful. It's the best that you could expect to possibly do as a guy that comes up from your American League team, gets thrown into such a critical situation. The last memory, because he will have to be returned to have these both come off IR, is the Boston game. So if Alex Lyon gets back into the net for the Florida Panthers, they won't bat an eyelash, right? They'll be thinking, hey, we got a chance to win here tonight. This guy's got to give us a chance. So he did everything he possibly could for himself and for our team.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks very much.